businesses. We answer questions, solve problems, and listen to complaints while also recognizing great companies that operate professionally with honesty and integrity. Today's show is sponsored by AllAboutDriveways.com. Your driveway is the entrance to your castle. It's the first thing people see when they pull up to your home. Whether it's an asphalt driveway, a concrete driveway, a brick paver driveway, or a good old-fashioned gravel driveway, let AllAboutDriveways.com help you get your driveway installed or maintained the right way. And now, your host of Consumers Corner, consumer advocate, Patrick Mattingly.
Hey, welcome to the show. All right. Today is going to be a really cool show because what I want to do is I want to talk to those of you that maybe live in an area where you've got a long driveway. Are we sure we're switching? Is it on auto switch? Okay, let's just double check here. Sorry guys, we are still learning this software. It is like crazy. If you ever want to start a YouTube show, oh man, it is a lot of work. It is amazing. Okay, so we're working, we're good. All right. So hey, for those of you that are joining Consumers Corner Show for the first time, listen, this is what we do. We give you a voice. If you have a problem with a company, how do you get it resolved? How many times have you found yourself in a situation where you, maybe you did some business with a company and you can't seem to get them to, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Is it on auto switch? Okay, we're good. Okay. Just shut the audio off of the workstation. Okay, there we go. I've got a producer here who is learning with me. So thanks for bearing with us. So anyway, the goal here is to give you a voice. How many times have you found yourself in a situation where you've done business with a company and something went wrong and you can't seem to get them to do anything? You call them, you talk to them, and it's funny. I talked to an insurance company last week because there was some repairs that needed to be done to the car. And I got to tell you, it's so funny because, I didn't say, hey, I'm a consumer advocate, Patrick Mattingly. I just was a consumer. And, the guy was very, very confrontive with me, to say the least. And I thought about it, and I'm thinking, how many of us find ourselves in those situations where we're trying to get somewhere, and they just treat you like, what are you going to do about it, right? And so that's what the Consumers Corner show is about. It's so that when you find yourself in that situation, you can get some help. And so today's show, you saw it sponsored by AllAboutDriveways.com. So some of you may be watching from, Mark's All Pros. Some of you may be watching from Trust Patrick. And All About Driveways is a website that I started about 11 years ago. And my goal was to help people with driveways, right? So this gentleman filed a complaint against this company. Works very similar to, say, a Better Business Bureau or something along those lines. You can file a complaint against a company. You can do it on Mark's All Pros. You can do it on Trust Patrick. You can do it at All About Driveways, wherever you want. Eventually, we got another website coming up that will be easier. You file a complaint. We're going to contact you. We're going to get other people's opinions of what they think. And, bottom line is that we're going to help you. And what's interesting, you'll find, is that when we get involved, people tend to do things that they normally wouldn't. Because, granted, right now, this is a new channel. My other channel, Trust Patrick, we've got 1,300 subscribers. Granted, right now, there's not as many subscribers and viewers, but boy, will there be. And what the goal here is that if you have a problem with a company and you can't get anywhere with them, and we bring them on the show, they can either look like a great company that steps up to the plate, that does the right thing, if in fact they did something wrong. Let's be honest. There are some consumers out there that you just can't please, right? But then they also have the option of if they don't want to help and they don't want to step up to the plate, then we can let other consumers know that they are not a company to be trusted. And it's not my decision. I'm not telling you can't trust them. It's my opinion. But it's based upon your viewpoint of it. It's based upon your feedback. And so that's what we do here at the Consumer's Corner, right? That's what this is all about. This is actually why I started doing what I'm doing, because I just have this thing in me about justice. It bothers me to see companies rip people off. And let me tell you, I've seen some stories, I've seen them live myself, of people who've been burned to the tune of thousands upon thousands of dollars. I'm talking, there was one gentleman who contacted me. Luckily, we were able to help him, but he spent $18,000 on a driveway. And we put some pressure on the company that installed it, and guess what? They stepped up to the plate. They did the right thing. He couldn't get him to do anything. They told him, oh, it's normal. You know, you're going to have to pay us to fix it. I got involved, and guess what they did? They went and fixed his driveway, no charge, and they did it right. So that's what we do, is we put pressure on them to do the right thing. And so I know that's kind of a long intro, but that's what I want you to hear. That's what I want you to see. Now, the flip side of this is that if you are a great company and you align with the values that we, that we talk about here on the Consumer's Corner show as how a business should operate, and you want to separate yourself from all the competition out there, then you list your company with marksallpros.com, or you list your company with Trust Patrick or All About Driveways. Eventually, Trust Patrick and Marks All Pros will be combined, but you can list your company with us, and we're going to promote you as a company that can be trusted. Now, it has nothing to do with money. It's not a pay-to-play game. Yes, you're going to pay. Yes, the companies that we recommend pay, but what they're paying for is the ability for us to promote them. Now, if we put them on our referral network and we get a bunch of complaints, that stuff costs money to field. You know, I do this show for free. I help consumers for free. You know, if you've got a complaint about a company, we do it for free. But this has to be, I got to make money, right? We all have to make money. We got to be able to survive. So anyway, long and short of it, companies do pay a fee. However, they have to meet strict criteria in order to even be invited to become a member. They go through a criminal background check. They get a credit check on themselves. We follow the owners of a company for 7 years. And if there's anything in their past, in the past 7 years, and that's as far as we can go back, we don't let them on. Anything that's questionable, right? We don't care what people do on the weekends, unless, of course, it's a habitual thing and they get in trouble for it. What we're looking for are people that have been in litigation, that have been sued by other homeowners, or we're looking for the company that has been sued by other, by people, by consumers. And if we see any of that stuff, we don't let them on the referral network. It just doesn't happen. Because look, let's all be honest. We can go on the internet and we can search for a company, and you can look at Google reviews, you can look at any of the reviews. It doesn't even matter whose reviews they are. You can look at those reviews, and I don't put a lot of stock in reviews, because what happens is a lot of times people, we get solicited, hey, can you give us a review? And I always sit back and think to myself, well, I mean, we're not even really finished yet. I don't even know what the end result is. And I'll give you an example, particularly with a home improvement project. We really don't know the results of that project until, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, particularly a driveway or a roof, concrete or asphalt or pavers or painting, or, these things, the signs of a bad job don't really show up until down the road. And so The reviews I don't put as much stock in, because what happens is we go on, we get solicited to give them a great review. We go on and we give them a great review. And then the next, for the next month, 2 months, people see that review as great, or they see it as one of the many great reviews. And then all of a sudden things go wrong. We forget we did a review on them, or we don't update the review. So in my opinion, they're not really something you can rely on 100%. But what can you rely on? You can certainly rely on doing a criminal background check on the owners of a company. You can certainly rely on doing a credit check on that company to make sure that that's what we do, is we do a credit check. We do a criminal background check on the owners themselves. We do the credit check because, hey, if they're getting ready to go out of business, we're not going to give them a lifeline, because if they go out of business and they did a bunch of shoddy work, well, guess what? That's us. That would be on our shoulders. So we don't do that. Now, at the same time, we can't predict what people are going to do in the future. We can only judge them by their past, right? So we take a snapshot of a company at that day, at that time, what they look like, what their reviews are like, their online reputation. We call their references. We check their credit. We check their criminal background check. We check the company credit. We look at the company as a whole. There's so many things that we do to check out a company that it ends up costing sometimes to the tune of $150 to $200 per person, per owner of the company. Now, you take that as a consumer and you go, geez, if I could do that myself, and you were going to get 2 to 3, home improvement estimates, how much would that cost you, right? That would cost you $300 to maybe $400 or $500 to do that. Now, who would do that, right? No one would do that. So the point is we do all the hard work for you. We've already done all that for you. And look, it's not just one person sitting around going, I think this guy's a good. We have a criteria that if they meet all that criteria, it's easy to approve them, then we approve them. If there's anything questionable at all that we feel we wouldn't want to bring that that company into our own home or recommend to our own friends and family, then we sit down as a whole. And I'm not saying if we couldn't, if there was something that was questionable, it's not just on my shoulders. It's not me that says, I'm not the judge here. So we sit together as a team and we go, hey, let's look at this. And then we find out what happened in this situation. And we'll ask them, tell us about this. We get a written statement from them. What happened here? And if it's something that makes sense, that, you know what, I try to live as great a life as I possibly can as far as doing the right thing. And I do the right thing all the time. But sometimes, things go wrong. And so, pardon me. So we sit down as a team and we say, hey, would we want to recommend this company or this person to our friends and family, or would we invite them into our own home? And if we can't honestly say that we couldn't, we don't let them on. We just won't let them on the referral network, because we want to make sure that we send you, the companies that we send you when you fill out that form online, are the best of the best. They're the best companies out there. So anyway, that's a long dissertation of what we do. But the bottom line is that if you are a consumer and you've had problems with a company, then this is the show to call, because we're going to get you resolution. We're going to do everything we can to help you get resolution. And if we can't, we're going to take the next steps. We're going to, if it's a bad company and they don't want to respond and they don't care, well, guess what? We're going to expose them on the internet here. We will make sure that when people type in that company name, that they see a video or they see an explanation, something like this, of what that company did, and we'll let them be the judge. I'm going to be the judge sometimes. It's only my opinion, but we're going to let people know that they are a company that cannot be trusted, that they're not a good company, to not use them. And us, all of us, the fans of Consumers Corner, us that run the show, us that run the companies, Mark's All Pros and Trust Patrick, and we as a team, all of us combined, can then help other consumers avoid these guys, avoid these companies, so that, instead of running businesses where they rip people off, they just go get a job. Okay? So anyway, that is really what Consumers Corner is about. Now, today's show, we're going to talk about recycled asphalt driveways. Now, if you know of someone that lives in, an area that has long driveways, maybe not necessarily, a neighborhood that has, the driveways that are 20 foot deep, but long driveways, like country road driveways, or even country roads. If you know someone that lives out there, here's the thing. They have to do something with their driveway, right? We got to have a driveway because, if we don't have a driveway, then the bottom line is that it gets muddy. It's terrible. You can't get in and out of it. It's just a pain, right? So then we have to do something to that driveway to make it so that it's drivable, passable. You can drive on it, no problems. And we have multiple different options, right? We can do an asphalt driveway, which is hot asphalt. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. We can do a concrete driveway. They're a little more expensive than an asphalt driveway, a little less maintenance. Or you can do a paver driveway, a brick paver driveway, or what they call that, permeable pavers. For those of you that are environmentally conscious and you want that water to seep back in, you can do a permeable paver driveway, which is even more expensive than a concrete or an asphalt, but way less maintenance and really nice. Or, you know what? Maybe you just want a good old-fashioned gravel driveway. Maybe you just don't care. And I'll tell you, we'll go into some more detail here, but if you have a long driveway, you got to really consider the climate that you live in. Do you live in a snowy climate where you've got to push the snow? And if you've got to do that, well, then, a hard surface driveway is probably best, but sometimes they are unaffordable, right? Maybe the driveway's super long. And you just can't afford to put asphalt down on that entire driveway. What do you do, right? Now, maybe you live in an area where you don't get any snow. Well, that's a little different. It doesn't really matter what you use as a, gravel, I guess, or a base, so to speak. So what do you do? Well, there's a couple different options out there. You can put a road base, a Class 6 road base, and Class 6 is something that we call it here in Colorado. There are other areas around the country, they call it, other classes or other types, but it's basically road base. It's just just road base, right? You can just use road base. Now, if you live in a snowy area, it gets difficult to plow that driveway. It gets really, really difficult to plow. By the way, I do want to mention to you, if you'd love to call in, or if you'd like to call into the show and you'd like to join us and maybe give your opinion or anything, or ask a question, or maybe you've got a problem with the company and you got a complaint, do me a favor, give us a call at 866-966-2287. That's 866-966-2287. You can even text that number. And matter of fact, I'll bring up my email right now, and we'll see if you text us at that number. We will get that text message. Give us some pointers, give us some tips, give us feedback, whatever you want. So 866-966-2287. That's you can call in or text. Or if you want to comment on Facebook, Instagram, today you'd be commenting on Trust Patrick. You can also comment on Mark's All Pros, but Trust Patrick you'll be commenting on today, Instagram, Facebook. You can even comment on the Twitter. It's Trust Patrick. Just look for us there. Anyway, and I'll see them right here, and I'll read some of them if you'd like, but do me a favor. Give us a shout out. Let us know you're watching, whatever the case may be. So back to the driveways. I appreciate that. Thank you. So can he hear? Okay, good. Hey, Todd, we'll be with you in just a few minutes. So anyway, so a long driveway. Now, road base. That's a great option unless you live in a snowy area and you've got to plow it, because eventually every year or two you're going to have to regrade the driveway, bring in more road base. You're going to have to pull it out of your garden. I mean, it really is a pain, particularly in snowy areas. So what do you do, right? The other option is recycled concrete. I love recycled concrete. It's environmentally friendly because you're recycling the concrete. It's not just going on the side of a riverbank or getting plowed into the ground. They crush that concrete up. They pull all the wire out of it or steel reinforcement, and they resell it back to contractors, and they come and put it on your driveway. I love that stuff because it tends to get really compacted. It's pretty tough, but it's still not really good for snowy areas. but I really love recycled concrete. The next option is recycled asphalt. Again, it's not the greatest for snowy areas, but quite frankly, I'm going to go into that and I'm going to tell you, I don't like recycled asphalt at all. I don't like it at all for a couple reasons, and I'm going to get into those. But the main reason is because of really what the results are. The second reason is there's too many opportunities for these fly-by-night contractors to rip people off. So if you know somebody that has a long driveway, maybe a family member or a friend, and just make sure that they watch this video so they understand. Or if you just happen to hear somebody talking about a recycled asphalt driveway or a parking lot for that matter, I am not a fan of recycled asphalt driveway. And that's what this show's about. I know it took me a few minutes to get there, but that's what this show's about today, because I want to make sure that you understand the things that can happen and the things and why I like to avoid it. Now, number one, here's the reason why I don't like recycled asphalt. First of all, number one, that recycled asphalt is basically, if you can imagine, they mill roads to put another layer over the top of it. They call it an overlay. So they take those millings and they take them to the recycled plant or the asphalt plant or the recycled plant, and they grind it back up again perfectly. Unless it's millings, it's already ground up, but they put it in a pile. They resell it to people. Think about it. On the roads, how often do you see them out there putting that hot rubber in those cracks? Well, guess what? That hot rubber ends up in that recycled asphalt. They take it to your home. They put it in your driveway. Next thing you know, it gets a really hot day. You got it on the bottom of your shoes. It gets in your car. It gets in your garage. It gets in your house, in your carpet. I don't like it. It's horrible stuff for that. It's just not great. Now think about it. Parking lots. If they remove and replace a parking lot, you see them out there sometimes where they spray the parking lot black again, and they restripe it, but they also fill those cracks with hot rubber again. And so when they grind that stuff up, that hot rubber's in there, and again, they bring it to your house, they put it on your driveway or even on a parking lot, and that stuff tracks into your car, into your garage, into your house, everywhere. It's horrible stuff. That's the number one reason I don't like it. The second reason I don't like recycled asphalt is because, you basically are taking this recycled asphalt, you're putting it on your driveway because maybe you can't afford or you just don't want to afford a hard surface driveway yet. And so you put it on your driveway. Well, what happens is the sun hits that, you drive on it. Over time, it tends to get hard again. Now, you might think, well, that's a great thing because then I'd have a hard surface. Not so much. The reason why I say that is because it gets hard very inconsistently. Very inconsistently. Can you do me a favor, Christy, and pull up these pictures for people to see? I want to show them. Let's see here. Yeah. Let me know when it's up there. So you'll see the first picture here. That's recycled asphalt. And I don't know if you can scroll in on that a little bit, Christy. Can you do that? You see the little hand at the top. It's got the little plus sign at the very top, next to the trash can. To the right in the center. See, left, right there. Okay, you can drag it up a little bit. Okay, you see that? That's recycled asphalt. Now, what does that look like to you? It just looks like dirt and gravel, doesn't it? But it's recycled asphalt. Now, you can't really see any rubber in this one, but the bottom line is you can see that it's just recycled asphalt. It's got the aggregates, it's black because it's got the tar in it still, or the asphaltic oils as it's actually called. Don't close it. It's all right, you don't need to do that. Just drag it back down to where it's small again. All right, perfect. So that's the first one. Now, don't switch it yet. So the recycled asphalt, what happens is it tends to get hard again, but it's very, very inconsistent. Okay, can they see me or hear me? It's okay. It's okay. So anyway, what do they see right now? Okay, never mind. I'm going to put it on auto switch and bring it back to me for a second. So what happens is that recycled asphalt tends to get hard again, but it's very inconsistent, okay? And what ends up happening, if you can switch it to the next picture, Christy, what ends up happening is eventually, well, okay, actually, here's actually, let me just Okay, you took it off auto switch. So you can see this is another recycled asphalt right here. It's very inconsistent. You can see these guys obviously, by the way, don't do a very good job, the people that put down recycled asphalt. And by the way, what they typically will do is they'll come to your house and say, hey, we're actually doing some paving up the street and we're doing some milling and we got some extra asphalt millings we'd love to sell you, and we'll put it down. And, you know, and consumers actually go, oh, okay, if you could do that for me, that'd be great. They buy into this baloney that they're going to give them a great deal, and these guys come in and they just go to the plant. They're not really working down the street with asphalt millings, because here's the thing. If they were down the street working for a company hauling asphalt millings, that company is paying them per hour. They don't want them going on some other job and dumping that. That doesn't work like that. They take that right to the plant. They get hot asphalt. They come back. They dump it in the paver. They go over to the miller. The miller fills them up with the millings, the recycled asphalt. They go back to the plant. They dump the recycled asphalt. They get hot asphalt. They come back. You get the point, right? So when they come to you and tell you, oh, we've got some extra millings, we're working down the street, it's all a crock. They're lying to you. So what they're really doing is they're telling you that because they want you to, that's the part of their story. They want you to think that they're, hey, we're working down the street and you're going to get the deal of a lifetime just because we're working down the street. It's part of their little game they play, right? And so anyway, they actually are probably already at the asphalt plant. Typically what they do is they have a group of guys. These guys all work in cahoots with each other. They're really good at this stuff, right? So they got one guy knocking on the doors, and as soon as he gets a hot one, he calls up the guys at the asphalt plant and says, I got a hot one, load up and come on over. And these guys load up with recycled asphalt, and they come over, and you think they're just down the street, and it's such a crock. These guys are just, it's funny. So anyway, you can see that picture there. Of the recycled asphalt. This is a job that this guy had done that he asked me to take a look at it, and it's just lousy, right? It's just not a good job. So anyway, what can happen now? Do you have the picture up? Okay, is it online? You gotta pull up the ATEM unit, put it on camera 3. Camera 3. Okay, perfect. That's what we want. I'm pretty sure. No, it should be on workstation, but that's okay. We'll see. Anyway, so there's the picture. I hope they can see that. I got to look here on YouTube. So you can see this driveway here. It's very inconsistent. You can see, there you go. The recycled asphalt has gotten hard, and then you can see these areas here in the middle that the recycled asphalt's disappeared. And by the way, see how thick that is? It's very thin, right? There's not much to it. So anyway, you can see it got hard there on the left-hand side. And by the way, another thing that I want to tell you is you can actually get recycled asphalt hard again, like almost like a new hot asphalt driveway. The problem is that it's a chemical that they put on it. To my knowledge, the only one I know of is it's called Reclamite. There may be other chemicals out there, but it will actually get it hard again. But here's the thing. I did the research on it. It costs just as much for that chemical to put on the recycled asphalt as it does to just have a new hot asphalt driveway put in the right way. So why would you ever even have an asphalt driveway with Reclamite in it? It's silly because it still doesn't look nearly. And there's little potholes in there. Here's the worst part about the potholes and the recycled asphalt. They are virtually impossible to fix. It's horrible. It is so, you can't fix them. I've had people put hot asphalt in them. They just break up around the hot asphalt. I've had people put concrete in them. It just breaks up around the concrete. I've had people put recycled asphalt back in them. It just pops right back out again. These potholes are literally virtually impossible to fix. It's absolutely crazy how difficult it is to fix those. Okay, so it's impossible to fix those holes. So anyway, I think that other picture looks like that one. So the bottom line is that if you have a long driveway, or you know someone that has a long driveway, avoid the recycled asphalt. Avoid it because it's just not worth it. It really is not worth it. It's a pain. I've had many people in this situation that you saw in the picture that they just couldn't fix those potholes. Here's the last thing that I'm going to tell you about recycled asphalt. The last thing is that because it does get hard again, let's say down the road you decide, you know what, I'm tired of this recycled asphalt and these potholes and I can't fix them. I'm just going to have it paved with hot asphalt. Well, guess what? Now the company, to do the job right, has to come in and remove all of that recycled asphalt as if it was a hot asphalt driveway, which adds to the cost. Now, it's not a ton, but it adds to the cost. Now, if they haul all that recycled asphalt out of there and there's nothing else there, guess what they got to do? They got to bring in some road base to make it right. And they got to put the hot asphalt on top of the road base. So now that recycled asphalt driveway that you hated, now you have to pay to have it removed, and then you got to bring in more road base and then pave it, right? So you've added to the cost. So here's my expert opinion. I've been in the asphalt business for over 25 years. My opinion is that what you do is you get either road base or recycled concrete. Those are the only two options that I think you should ever go with for a long driveway, because you can regrade the road base, you can regrade the recycled concrete, and then pave over the top of that. It's the perfect stuff for that. And you don't have to have it hauled off as if it was a hot asphalt driveway. Now, so that's my take on recycled asphalt driveways. Now, before we go anywhere, I just want to take a few minutes. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm going to tell you a quick story about a complaint I received. We already did a show on this previously. This is our second show on this, and I'm going to tell you why we're doing a second show on it here in just a second. But here's the thing. This gentleman contacted me on All About Driveways. He's from Virginia, and bless him, he is a former military, and I thank him for his service. He is a retired military. He's had a few health issues that he's been battling, but he sounds like he's doing really good. But the bottom line is that he's in Virginia and he had a recycled asphalt driveway installed, but it wasn't what he thought it was going to be. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually bring him on, and I want him to tell the story of what happened. And then I'm going to tell you all of the things that can go wrong, and I'm going to show you some more pictures. So do we have Todd on the line? Todd, are you there? Hang on one second. Okay, Todd, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, Todd, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot.
Good. Well, I'll tell you what. You probably heard me just kind of telling the story. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So do me a favor, if you don't mind, can you kind of tell me the story about, I know you've already told this, but if you could just tell me the story, of what happened, how you found the guy, what he did, and what was the end result. And then we'll go into what has happened since then. So can you go ahead and just kind of recap your story?
Sure. I was actually driving into town, getting my truck inspected, and I ran across these guys working on a driveway about 3-4 minutes from the house. And originally, all I wanted to do was regrade what I had because it was accumulating water by my driveway, by my garage, excuse me.
Okay.
And I wanted to get that away from the house. And then, of course, that turned into, putting down asphalt and everything else. It took a total of 2 days to do that, and looked beautiful.
Okay, now real quick, let me ask you a quick question. Let's go back to I want to make sure people hear this. So let's go back to when he came over to look at your driveway. Tell me what he told you and what the story was, and what he told you it would look like.
I told him I just wanted to regrade it. And he said that they would regrade it, but, as the story goes, and I knew this, we have extra material left over from the house down the street, and we can do your driveway and hook, line, and sinker.
Okay.
And he said that it would look nice, even, smooth. It would take about 3 to 4 days to fully harden up. And I asked him, well, how hard will it get? And he told me, about as hard as the road in front of your house, which is a state-maintained road.
Right.
And I said, well, in that case, yeah, sure. Go for it. If that's what it's going to be, go for it. And by the end of 2 days, it was all done. I was out just under $7,000 in cash, by the way. And it was really, really nice. And I didn't walk on it, drive on it. I hardly even looked at it because I wanted to wait until it was completely hard before I did anything.
Mm-hmm.
So at 10 days, 11 days, I walk across because I'm going to get my lawn tractor out and cut the grass. And as I'm walking, I'm leaving footprints in the driveway. Also, at one point where he had put asphalt down that didn't have any base at all, I actually had grass growing up through it. This was in less than 2 weeks. So I didn't have to wait 3, 6 months, a year to tell whether or not the driveway was good or not.
Yeah.
And
didn't you say too that you now the drainage is even worse?
Oh yeah, it's horrible now. It's broken up so bad. It breaks up every time it rains. It breaks up more, and when it rains, I have anywhere from 6 to 7 inches of water by my garage now, and that's only going to seep under the pad. So if it does that, then I'm looking at a lot of damage.
Yeah, we want to see Todd's
So
pictures,
I
Christy.
have no choice. I've got to get it redone.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what happened last week real quick.
Sure.
I got my truck I had errands to run out in town. I got in my truck and I put it in reverse and it wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, what's going on? And I said, I checked, thinking I left the parking brake on. No. Then I thought it was stuck. So I put it back on and pulled it off again. And finally, I just gunned it. And it came loose. I'm like, well, that's good. I got to get that checked out.
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted to see if there was, any damage or anything. So I got out of the truck and went around to where the drive wheel was. The drive wheel had sunk into the driveway all the way down to the base. And that's what was holding the truck in place.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. Yeah. So
it's a joke.
Yeah.
It is a complete joke, and I'm the butt of the joke.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'll tell you what. We got some pictures here, and I want to show people your driveway. Okay, so I've got them up on the line here. If you can, Christy, if you can kind of zoom in on that a little bit. So here's the thing, guys. When Todd contacted me and showed me these pictures, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, that kind of looks like a hot asphalt driveway, just a lousy job. But then when I found out that it was recycled asphalt, he gave you a completely different name of a company and gave you the estimate under a completely different name that, to my understanding and to my knowledge, isn't even registered in your state, which is a whole nother thing. That's my point. My point in this is that, folks, these people, they don't care about you. They only care about lining their own pockets with money. Now, I've made my own judgment on this gentleman. It's my opinion. But if he was really an honorable guy, first of all, he wouldn't have lied to you about what he was getting. Yeah, you can go ahead and scroll through those, Christy. Like, here's a picture of your garage. You can see there's water pooling up there by that ladder. You can see the tire tracks a little bit. And this guy I mean, this is indicative of a scam that's been going on for years, and it's getting worse and worse and worse with recycled asphalt. These guys go around and sell this recycled asphalt, and then they tell you that, oh, it's going to be just like a hot asphalt driveway. Now, remember what I said earlier, folks. If it's going to be just like a hot asphalt driveway, the chemical to do that costs just as much as it does to have a hot asphalt driveway installed. So don't buy their bull and just get a real hot asphalt driveway from a reputable company, particularly a company that's on All About Driveways or Mark's All Pros or Trust Patrick. So, okay, so we got another picture of this driveway. You can see it as I'm talking. The bottom line is this is a guy that what he did was he had recycled asphalt. Now, what's funny, Todd, is that he told us on the last call when he goes, "Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about with that reclamite. That's what we sprayed on it." But yet his post on Facebook from his company in Chicago said that they sprayed hot oil on it. So I'd like to know what he said, which one it is. Right? We're going to get him on the phone here, I think, in a few minutes. We're going to try to get him on. Matter of fact, if you want to call him and ask him if he wants to join us, that would be fantastic. So anyway, the last time that we talked to this gentleman, I don't even remember his name, doesn't really make things happen. And if I can't do it myself, do you think I would let all my customers just hang, or would I have my secretary, or I have, reputable companies have things in place in the event that this happens? You're going to be able to get a hold of somebody that's going to say, yeah, there's some health issues, we're going to get to you, whatever the case may be. This guy just completely disappeared, and Todd called him. You called him a couple times, right? And he didn't respond. Is that the case?
Right. He didn't respond. It was about a month before I got a knock on the door, and when I answered it, it was a different guy that introduced himself as
the
first guy through them.
Yeah,
and
tell that story.
He's telling me about needing to put down the hardener on the driveway. I said, no. First of all, the driveway is supposed to be done. Second of all, it looks like crap. It would need to be fixed before you put anything down. And keep in mind, he had his truck there, and this guy's waiting in the back of the truck. Then he wanted to go inside and talk about it. I said, I don't know why we can. I don't care. So
yeah. So hang on. Let me stop you for a second. I've heard this story before from other people. The reason why he wanted to come in your house is he wanted to get your attention off of the driveway so that they could be doing all their work really fast while you guys are in there talking about it. And then when he can't close you or he can't get you to pay more money, then they go, well, we've already done the work. Leave him a voicemail, Christy. Yeah. Then they've already done the work, and then they really pressure you. And then there are some states, Todd, I don't know if you're aware of this, that these guys can actually say, well, we had a verbal agreement, and it's their word against yours, and they can take it to court. Now, I don't know, you got to check with your state laws, but there are states that they can do that. I know in one of them, I think it was in South Carolina. I went out to South Carolina to visit a lady that she told me that, or the sheriff in her state said that all they have to do is say we had a verbal agreement and they can collect on that money. So that's probably what he was trying to do. I don't know what it's like. You're in Virginia. I don't know what it's like, but anyway, so finish the story. So he ended up telling you what?
Yeah, well, we're in the living room, but I've got a big bay window, and we go over to the window. He didn't like going over to that window, because he's talking, I'm talking, and I'm watching them do this in the driveway. So, I mean, cat's out of the bag. I'm not that gullible. But then he asked me how I wanted to pay for it. I said, pay for it? I'm not paying for anything. I said, this was a done deal.
Right.
He wanted $2,400, and it literally looked like they were putting down water. Yeah. And that's it. And I said, why are you doing anything? I already told you. It looks like crap. It needs to be redone. And then he says, well, I'm going to lose my job. I said, not my problem.
Yeah, you hear that?
I'm not paying you $2,400.
That's another thing these guys do. They are so manipulative. They just yank on people's emotional strings. Well, I'm going to lose my job. And of course, grannies out there, and she's like, well, I don't want you to lose your job. Okay. These are the things that these guys do. They're, quite frankly, I don't even want to use the words. I probably shouldn't. They're just unethical, unscrupulous contractors. So anyway, so you told him, no, I'm not paying you, and what was the result?
Well, he was basically begging me to let them finish it, and then he says, I'll do it at cost, and we'll split it. I'll finish it for $1,200. I said, you can finish it for nothing. The fact is, you need to get off my property.
Yeah,
you're done.
And he got about halfway done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then when we were on the yeah, no doubt. I'm sure they just listen. I can assure you. I'll tell you what a lot of companies do is they'll actually spray the top of it with tack oil, which tack oil is used when they put another layer of hot asphalt on top of existing asphalt, hot asphalt, and it actually helps bond the new asphalt to the old asphalt. It's called tack oil. And what they'll do a lot of times is they'll just water that stuff down. It's so cheap. I mean, if they would have sprayed your whole driveway, it probably would have cost them $20 in material, and they were wanting to charge you $2,500. That's how. I can't say it. I really want to say what I want to say, but I'm trying to keep my language toned down. The bottom line is that, or it's real asphalt sealer, and that's a little more expensive, but it's all watered down. It just makes it look nice and black again, and that's probably what they sprayed on it. So the bottom line is that when we had Luke is his name, by the way, when we had him on last time, he said, well, I don't know who knocked on your door. And tell me, you told me, and I guess tell me, you had mentioned that you did some research, and that was his brother. Is that right?
Yeah. It's a wide, large family tree.
Yeah.
And it is his brother, and he's saying that this guy he's just trouble. He's always going after jobs, and I'm thinking to myself, really, how's he going after your jobs?
Yeah, well, they obviously passed it down and said, hey, here's all the driveways that I scammed people for the past 3 months. Go scam them again because they're easy to scam or something. Who knows, right? So
pretty much.
Now, when we talked to Luke, he said, by the way, Christy has called him, left him a voicemail. He's not calling back. He told us that he was going to go back to your house and he was going to make it right. Didn't he on our show? And by the way, folks, this is how they are. They sound so nice. And they're so trustworthy and so believable. And, man, I just had health problems. And, I want to make it right, he says. I'm going to do the right thing for my customers. And, Todd, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to fix it right. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, because I was trying to count, and I think he said make it right 7 different times.
Yeah, he's going to make it right. And so we got done with the show, and you called me and told me, I think we were talking, and all of a sudden you said, he's here, right? He actually came to your house.
Yep, he was here. He was here in 10 minutes, which didn't surprise me. But his concern when he got here wasn't the driveway. His concern was the guy that said that he was working with him and giving him a bad name.
Yeah, it's never his fault.
Going around. Right.
It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always something else. And yes, we all have health issues on occasion, but it's always somebody else's fault.
Well, my favorite part of that, Patrick, was when he told me, well, I'm not going to fix this by myself. I'm going to make him do it. I don't care.
That's so funny.
I don't care. I'm going to make you do it.
Right.
I could care less.
Yeah.
But that's all he was concerned about.
Yeah. So anyway, so what was the result? He came back and he fixed it great, right?
I haven't seen hide nor hair.
Nothing. You haven't heard a peep from him.
Nope.
Never came over to fix it.
No. Are you kidding?
No.
And he gave me another number. I've literally got 7 different phone numbers for him. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so
it really is.
So here's the thing. I want other consumers to know in Virginia and Chicago now that obviously this guy is not somebody that they can trust. So this is my opinion, though. It's just my opinion. People can form their own opinions, but I want to know, what is the name of his companies that he operates under? Do you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you sorry about that. The name he gave me was Blacktop Paving.
Yeah.
However, the other names that we've seen are Pave Right, PAVE-RITE.
Yeah, and that's the
Asphalt.
one. Yeah, that's the one we went to Facebook. I wonder. I haven't even checked Facebook lately. Have you checked it? Is it still, that picture of your driveway still up there?
Honestly, I haven't checked it in about a week. So I couldn't tell you for sure.
Okay, I'll check while I'm sitting here. Maybe Christy can pull that up and see if it's up there. So anyway, Pave Right Asphalt. That one's out of Chicago, right?
I think so. Then there's another one called Asphalt Works, spelled WORX, and I'm beginning to believe that they're not misspelled to be cute. They're misspelled because it doesn't know how to spell it. Anyhow, there's another 3 or 4 names. We've already called. I'm referring to the neighbors that he was doing when I stopped and talked to him. We've already been through the BBB, of course. I've already called the SCC in Virginia. There's no license under any of these names. There's no license under his name. He's not listed on any license as somebody who can write contracts, and that's really what the license is for.
Right.
There's different grades of license, like up to 10,000, up to 50,000, then unlimited. And it's based on the courses that you've taken and the tests that you've passed to prove you know what you're doing. Without that license, they cannot write a contract. It is a felony.
Oh, wow.
The work is something else, because I can go next door and ask my neighbor if he wants me to cut his grass for $50. That's legal. But if I were to write a contract that I'm going to cut his grass once a week all summer, I can't do that without a license. That's the way it works here. At least that's the way it was explained to me when I called the SEC. They have absolutely no record under any of the phone numbers, any of the names, any of his family names, nothing. And on his Facebook page, after he did my job, it said that there was a contract that he had that was good until the end of August of this year, but no contract number. Anybody that has a contract and is advertising that, I have never seen a company not advertise the contract number.
Right.
That's how you verify it.
Huh. So you're saying that these guys didn't follow the rules?
They didn't follow the rules is understatement.
Yeah.
But my neighbor, I really like him. He's already contacted the IRS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's reported them to the IRS. We're trying to get the feds involved, and he's also trying to find out if, just by chance, he's collecting any sort of public assistance.
I wonder. Be good to know.
Because these are adding charges. Because we're trying to go criminal with this guy.
Yeah.
He needs to get off the street.
Yeah, and I hope you're successful with that. But most of the time, that one thing I want to educate other consumers on, Todd, is that most of the time, people are very unsuccessful because these guys are so good at hiding. Can you click on the picture, that one picture, and bring it up bigger? These guys are so good at hiding themselves. Yeah, that's that one right there. So go ahead and bring that picture up so people can see it. I'm showing them, Todd, his picture on Facebook, and you can see. Okay, so there it is, right there. It says Asphalt Millings, hot oil added. He told us on the last show, oh yeah, that's what we put. We put that Reclamite on there. So which is it, Luke? Come on, Luke, which is it? Is it hot oil or is it Reclamite? My guess is it's hot oil. I don't even think it's hot oil because I don't know of any place that sells hot oil. And knowing how cheap a lot of these guys are, I can probably tell you they don't want to spend the money to heat it up. I've never seen a machine that can heat up oil and spray it on an asphalt driveway. I have never seen it, and I've been in the business 25 years. Maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. But the bottom line is that it's just, in my opinion, based upon my experience, this is and was a scam. And he didn't come back to do, he told you he was going to come back. He didn't come back. The reality is Pave Right Asphalt out of Chicago, in my opinion, is not a company to use. So, folks, that's why we have our referral network, so that you don't have to deal with all this stuff. And, the biggest hook, and I'm not saying this is you, Todd, but the biggest hook a lot of these guys have is they make you feel like they're the nicest guys in the world. And, man, we're going to save you some money. I mean, I've actually gone out and done estimates where people have said to me, that I was trying to rip them off. And I'm like, why is that? Well, because I actually had to talk to a guy last week. And he said, well, my son-in-law had his driveway paved, and the company that we got the quote from was $3,000 cheaper than one of your companies. And I said, there's a reason for that. There's not even probably $3,000 profit in that job when it's done right. And, these people make people feel like they're getting such a great deal, and they're getting a great job, and they're the nicest guys, and it's just it's horrible. And I'll never stop it, but I do want to educate people. So we got Pave Right Asphalt. Don't my opinion, don't use them. What's the other company? Blacktop Paving or something like that.
Blacktop Paving Company and Asphalt Works. WORX.
Yeah, Asphalt Works. So, you know what? Quite frankly, they probably don't even have it registered, so it doesn't really matter. But, folks, this is why you do your due diligence. And you know what? When it comes to people knocking on your doors, there are other people that have different opinions. Todd obviously didn't knock on this guy's door, but my opinion is it's typically these guys that are knocking on doors. You know what? My rule of thumb is I never answer my door. I have a no soliciting sign on my door. That way, I'm never tempted. Because believe it or not, years ago, I bought a vacuum cleaner, probably 25 years ago. I was 25 years old. I bought a vacuum cleaner that was like $6,000. It was ridiculous. And I learned my lesson from that point forward. The best way to avoid getting burned is just don't answer your door. Now, I know that COVID's around and it's a little bit different, but anyway, so just don't answer your door. Just don't even fall for that stuff. Don't get sucked into it. Just don't answer your door, and it'll save you a lot of heartache. And then if you go to marksallpros.com or you go to trustpatrick.com or allaboutdriveways.com, and by the way, we're going to dial those into one domain, but if you go there, and you can search and see if a company's on our referral network. And if they're not, and you get estimates, we will also help you. If you find other companies to get estimates from, you can send in your estimates. We'll look at them. We're not going to tell you who to pick, but we'll tell you which ones look like they're legitimate and which ones don't, and what the contracts look like, and how they're spelled out, and what you should have them add to it, and things of that nature. So Todd, I appreciate you telling your story again, and coming on the show again. Please do me a favor and keep us apprised as to what happens. Luke did not call into the show, so obviously he doesn't want to, last time he called in, but, I think it was because he was trying to make himself look like a good guy. And today he didn't call back in, and, it was short notice, but I mean, I've ran businesses before, and I answer my phone all the time or have somebody answer it. So anyway, Todd, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, listen.
Hopefully, maybe it'll be different in a few months.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Keep us surprised. And by the way, thank you so much for your service. I appreciate the fact that you've served our country, and I just want you to know that I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers here do as well. So thanks for calling in again, Todd. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure thing.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna wrap up the show, but before we do, I just want to show them one more thing. If you've got this video posted up here, and I'm gonna have you pause it on occasion, Christy. So this is a driveway in Colorado Springs that basically let's see. Hang on one second here. Let me just. So this is a driveway that I got called on a few years ago. They said, hey, we had a new driveway installed, and man, this thing, there's something wrong with it. We don't know what's wrong with it. Can you please come take a look at it? Can you pause it? Oh, yeah, you played it a little bit too fast. Anyway, yeah, go back a little bit. Go back a little bit. You can see it's a beautiful house, beautiful area. They had this new driveway installed, and they said, man, this thing, something's wrong with it. So I drove all the way down there, hour and a half away, met with them, and this is the results. If you look at this, this is exactly what we're talking about. They had this driveway. They told them it was going to be look just like a hot asphalt. It's going to look perfect. It's going to look just like a hot asphalt driveway. And can you bring that up for them? The video. Can you bring it up? I'm sorry? Okay, but don't play the video yet. Can you back it up? Okay, so anyway, you can see the driveway there. I can't. Did you switch it to number 3, camera 3? Camera 3. Okay, there we go. So they said that they were going to get a hot asphalt driveway, and this is what they are. Not a hot asphalt driveway. They just said this is going to look just like a hot asphalt driveway, but it's going to save you so much money. You're just going to save so much money, boy. You're going to have lots of money left over for Christmas, right? And if you look at this thing, look at it. It's recycled asphalt. And what did they spray on it? I can't tell you for sure, but if you play the video real quick, and then I'm going to make sure you pause it. Okay, you can see me. I got a screwdriver there. That looks like asphalt sealer there. It probably cost them a quarter of what it would cost. And then look at that. They got that tack oil or seal coat all over their landscaping. Look at that. Now, is this the kind of job that you would want? This is how we get sucked into these scams. You know, it's just a scam. And I got to tell you, it's just not something that, you know, you want to have happen to you. So anyway, long and short of it, that is another example. And folks, I got to tell you, I've seen it multiple times in the past 2 years. I've been wanting to do a show on it. So do me a favor. If you're thinking about a recycled asphalt driveway, don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't let somebody suck you into the lie of, you know, maybe you can cue up that outro. Anyway, don't let them suck you into the lie. That's all lies. They lie to you. They just want your money. They don't care about you. And quite frankly, what ends up happening is that these people will, you know, take your money and they will run. And then in a couple of years or even 2 months, you call them, like these people that I just showed you that video, they couldn't even get a hold of them. Once they were gone, they were gone. And they paid them with a check. They had cashed that check. That's another thing you're going to find. These guys want cash or check, never a credit card, because of course you can say, I don't want the credit card. I don't, you know, or I'm sorry. I want to dispute the charges on my credit card. They know you can do that. And so they avoid credit cards. A good company is going to take credit cards. Most of them do. Some of them don't. That means they're a good company. And here's the last thing I'm going to mention to you. The last thing I want to mention to you is, you know, you can start that music if you want. The last thing I'm going to mention to you is when people ask you for money up front. Don't, by any stretch of the imagination, let a company give them 50% up front. If they are good with cash flow and they're good with their money, you do not need to pay them up front anything. And if a company tells you that that's the only way they can get started, don't hire them. It's not worth it because they will run with your money and then you never get it. What I would tell a company is that, hey, look, when you show up on the job, it's the workstation, you just got to pot it up very slowly. When you show up on the job, you can just pause it. It's not a big deal. When you show up on the job to do the job with the materials, I'll give you 50% right on the spot. That's when I will give you money down. But before then, it's not happening. Don't give people money up front. Folks, thanks so much for watching us on the show today. Sorry for the little glitches. We're working on this software. We're trying our best in order to run it the best, but we're going to get better at it, and we're going to have our producer just keep working on getting good at it, but we're going to get these shows dialed in. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the little bell so that next time we go live, you get notification. Now, this afternoon, we've got a very special guest coming in. It's going to be a blast, so make sure that you subscribe today so that you can see our next special guest. He's on TV. He is one heck of a guy. I'm really looking forward to having him on. All right. Thanks for watching.